Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Milestone Book Club on 22 panels. I'm joined tonight by the brothers Anderson, no relation.
I still love that.
Marcus, who had a major announcement this week, and thank you so much for dropping it on my birthday. It was like just so super cool to have the birthday present of the cover of Big Jim and the White Boy, your follow up to the Black Panther Party with David Walker. So
Yeah.
Eisner Award winning creators back at it again, and if my blue sky feed is any indication, people are chomping at the bit for your book. Uh,
I mean,
cause,
I'm humbled, man. Because, like, you
cause
know,
I mean, I know I told you in text, and I just told Ted, but we have a limited set of followers. We've got maybe 150 overall followers, and I feel like I've done something cool when we get 25 likes, and like if Neil Gaiman reposts us, we get 40, right?
yeah.
You got 225 likes and 66 reposts. It got reposted again today.
Yes. Well, thank you
Somebody came
for,
across it.
yeah, thank you
uh,
for putting the word out.
yeah, well, but I barely did anything. They just saw the picture and it flew. I mean, and everybody I've been around who saw the cover for the first time was definitely a big fan. I know I'm a big fan. Uh, I love the gym pose. Yeah.
Yeah, I did
Awesome.
not hear about this. I've been kind of off the internet lately, but like I am so extremely hyped for this. I cannot wait to get this from my Well, wait a minute. Is this middle school appropriate, do you think?
Yeah, yeah, we are like it's similar to Black Panther Party where it's kind of like middle school and
Yes.
up. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely Black Panther Party is in rotation in my middle school too, for sure. So I'm looking forward
Okay,
to getting this one too.
cool, man. No, thank you.
It looks
Yeah,
very cool. I
yeah.
cannot
Well, there will
wait to
be
read it.
more. Like there's a whole marketing apparatus and protocol to follow, but they definitely the marketing team is cool with having selective non-spoiler images. So I will be sharing more, over the
Uh,
next few months.
that will be
Nice. Nice.
amazing. So anybody who hasn't already, follow Marcus on Instagram so you can see his images. Is that just at Marcus Kwame? I think.
Yeah, well, I ended up having to add Marcus_Kwame because somebody who is absolutely not named Marcus Kwame got to it first. Um, so and
Damn it.
I literally don't know because I know like
They
URLs
thought you
people will
had
camp
like
out on the
money to
URL.
offer them to
It's weird. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but anyway. But yes,
Ah,
just if you Google my name, it'll come up.
yeah, you'll
He'll
find
be
it.
there somewhere.
You'll find it. The other guy doesn't have his cool pictures.
Yeah, no.
Or does he
Yeah,
just
exactly.
mirror your account? It's like you put it up and then
No, thankfully it's not one of those. I mean, I haven't checked in a while, but no, it's just random pictures. Yeah.
Did did Does anyone seen this? Sorry, this is a bit of a derail, but I have to talk about this because it's a comics related thing.
Yeah.
Has anyone seen that people have been doing experiments now where they'll put their own, so they'll post their own art to Twitter and be like, "Here's some stuff I drew. Look at these cool images," and then they'll
Mhm.
do another post with the same set of images and say, "Oh, who did these cool drawings? Who's responsible for this cool comic?" And
Hmm.
that post gets so much more likes and retweets.
Oh, but it's all theirs?
It's all theirs, but it looks like a reposting
Oh,
without credits. And for some reason,
wow.
people are
Yep.
already speculating like whether this is a Twitter thing or a social media thing or what, but like somehow
I mean,
more it gets more engagement.
I have
I
It's
a
think
theory,
messed
but
up.
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I think my theory and I think Occam's razor would let this one work is just that once you ask who is this, if people don't know, they'll retweet it so that
They
more
think it's a
people will
question. That's true.
see in
Right.
hopes that somebody will be able to answer your question.
Yeah, and that's a good theory. I think there's definitely validity to that. I also think that and I think Occam's razor would also accommodate this is that if you think about it, like these platforms, like specifically like Facebook and stuff, and or Meta, excuse me, will, they're really aiming to get people to promote their stuff if they even get a whiff of it's your stuff. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
would
that's
not be
true.
shocked if its reach was more limited when you said this art that I created versus like, oh, I'm sharing someone else's art. You know what I mean? And then you couple that
Okay.
with what Tad is
Yeah,
saying.
no, that makes
Yeah,
sense. Where the algorithm is not pumping it quite as much as
right.
well
Because it,
because they want you to pay for the sponsored.
yeah,
That makes more
Okay.
sense. That's fair.
probably a
Yeah, I
little
don't
bit of
know.
both. Yeah.
I'm just being weirdly cynical about social media marketing these days.
Oh,
I mean,
I hear
Oh,
you.
yeah,
I
who
think
isn't, I guess.
I think
Yeah.
everybody should always have been cynical of social media. And
Woof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the reason that I've never had a social media meltdown is I've been cynical of social media since MySpace.
Oh God,
Yeah.
yes.
You,
Yeah,
you
Oh
no,
yeah.
it's
know, I mean, I've been a relatively early adopter of most of it.
I I
Um,
I
but
remember being
but I
in
always
college. Sorry.
very carefully
Yes.
decide how I'm going to use it.
I remember
Right.
being in college and hearing that, like, wait, so they're just going to open up Facebook to anybody, even if you don't have a college address? Well, what's the point
Yep,
then?
me
Yeah.
too.
And then,
Hmm.
and then being like, oh, okay.
And that's when
Yeah.
most of us
Yeah.
stopped using it as much.
Yeah. No, yeah. Um, but yeah, anyway, so that just popped into my head of like how much engagement people get from different types of like framing it as like, oh, who is this cool person? As opposed to
Right.
like, hey, check out my cool art. Yeah,
Right.
that's
But I will say, I think there's a third because, Ted and I gave our theories, but Ted, what you're saying, I can see something, just to the social aspect of it too, where sometimes,
Right.
fans, because like, and yeah, look, I have incredible friends. I mean, look, Tad has been so supportive, but some of my, I'm not calling anybody out in particular, but some of my like time best friends, they they notice like my art stuff a lot less than like a lot of people that I barely know or don't know, you know what I mean, online. And I think it's just like a familiarity. It's like, I know that dude. He's always
yeah,
drawing something,
Right.
So I think there's a little bit of that with people as well on a social level, in
Right.
addition to the algorithmic stuff we're talking about.
that
You
makes
know,
sense.
I
and
would
don't get me
also
wrong, any of my friends listening, you guys support me in all kinds of
right.
different ways. And I have friends that absolutely support me on an artistic level as well.
Yeah.
Well,
But it's
well,
also, yeah, if you see someone every day, you're less likely to realize, oh, they're like a big deal. Like
Yeah.
they
You
have
know,
this is a
it's
thing. Yeah.
yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I'm so sorry,
No,
but like
no.
I was with my dad. It was so random. I was with my dad helping him carry some stuff at the hardware store a couple weeks ago, and this the guy one of the guys that was helping us, he noticed I had like a Miles Morales shirt, so he's like, oh, like you're into comics, you're into anime too. So we started talking about like different manga and whatnot, and he was like, and I forget. Oh, I think he mentioned like one of the ones that's got a million episodes, like maybe like One Piece or something. And I was like, I haven't gotten to that yet because there's so much of it, and I also draw comics, so it takes up a lot of my time. And he's like, oh, you do, blah blah blah. And this is the kind of situation I've had with people so many times where if they don't see it, because I think he asked, he's like, oh, like what's your like, where are you online or whatever. So I gave him my Instagram, and he's like, oh, you really draw.
yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And I get that
Yes.
a lot
Yeah.
because people sometimes will like, because I think there's a certain skepticism. They're like, oh, everybody says they draw, or like, you know what I mean,
It's
or
an
write
amateur
or
thing.
whatever.
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
and the other thing is comic book famous is still not famous
It's
with
not
very
famous.
few
Yeah,
Yeah.
exceptions.
I
I mean,
remember hearing, sorry.
go ahead.
I just remember hearing an interview years ago with Bendis where he was talking about like having lunch at the time with Stan Lee, and he's like, you know, people know who Stan Lee is. He's real person famous. I go to
Right.
a
right.
convention and people want to talk to me. I'm comic book famous, but Stan Lee is like real person famous.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Now see,
it's a similar thing. It's like,
I
oh,
always loved the way that Tom King told it, where he's like, sure, I go into a con and everybody knows me, but I'm out at the park and I don't, I mean, he's like, I once got recognized at the park and I'm like, can you come home with me so my mother-in-law believes that I'm famous?
this happens for
yeah,
real. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
no,
Um,
completely. It's like I haven't had this experience yet, obviously, but like, yeah, those kind of moments where it's like, oh, people genuinely recognize that I do something. That's kind of cool. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it's cool though, right? And that is one thing I appreciate about comics is like for the most part, people are kind of appreciating what you do. Don't get me wrong. There's segments of fandom that like people for all kinds of wrong reasons, but like. A lot of times it's more like, wow, I read this book and everything, or I've read a few books by you, or whatever, or
Right.
this particular piece of work touched me, and I can, and I'm not even comic book famous, but I like being able to do something that's
Well, you
appreciated
you
and
are
be
an
able to go to the store and not be recognized.
you are
Yeah.
an Eisner Award winner. That's a
Yeah,
certain
it doesn't
kind
pay
of
the bills.
just because you didn't show up to receive your award,
Yeah. No, and I
David
mean
got it to
like,
you
yeah.
eventually.
No, and I'm not obviously it's just, but even that, because I can't remember if I know I've shared it on my podcast, but I can't remember if I spoke about situations where I went to a con and like the con promoter who's a big supporter, it was a local con. It wasn't like NYCC or anything.
Right.
And although local cons are awesome, but
Local cons are
he
amazing.
yeah, and the guy who puts on the con he's actually like a really good guy. Like and he was like, oh, we're gonna make a big deal. This was like right after the Eisner. He's like, we're gonna make a big
Right.
deal out of it. And Tad, I don't make a big deal out
I
of the
know you
Eisner.
don't.
I almost like prefer people don't bring it up. But like sure enough, he brought it up in publicizing the event. And this one guy came over and got like really competitive with me. And I'm just like, oh yeah, that's cool. Well, no, only in the sense that like, 'cause it's not like it says on my table, but like he had seen in the publicity, he was like, oh, so Eisner, huh? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm just trying to do the work, like, and I'm not really too hung up on that. And he was like, well, I almost got one too. I got nominated. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. And I just really tried to divert the conversation to be like I do with any other creator, like,
Right.
what do you do? Like, what do you write about? Like, what's your story? And he told me and everything. But then I swear, in the next sentence, and I was being, even as much as it was slightly off-putting, because I'm not telling you every beat of the story, but he did kind of have a really competitive energy, just in his tone, stance, everything. And
Well, I
um
mean, some
and I
people
said to
just
him,
need to have a rival.
Yeah.
well, no, but this is what it was like in the next breath, right? Because and I was sincere about this. I wasn't just saying this.
Right.
I said to him like, "Oh, cool. Like I'll come by your table and check it out," because it sounded interesting. So I was like, "I'll come by and check it out when I get a break." And but the reason why I didn't end up going to his table is because he comes back afterwards, and he's like, so I didn't get to finish telling you the story. So you know who beat me, and he goes on, and I'm like, I could already feel where this is going, and I was like, he's gonna say that some female creators got it, and they only got it because they're women, and sure enough, he did. He did. He
Oh,
was like, oh, I
oh,
got, because his
Oh,
book was like some,
oh,
I can't remember what it was about. I think it was, but it had to do with some like aspect of comic history, right? And it wasn't
right.
even a comic. And then there was women who had beaten him in the category, and their book genuinely sounded more interesting to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like his was kind of like well covered ground, as far as comics history, and theirs was kind of like a more unique take. But his whole thing was like, and then he made some bad pun about it, um,
yeah.
and which I did not laugh at. And then I decided at that very moment that I would
Please
not
tell
go
me
check
your
out his
daughter
table.
wasn't at your table because
No,
that
she
would be
wasn't. Because, I actually
okay.
would have made more of an example out of it
Right.
if she was there at the time.
You
I
know, make
really
it.
would.
Yeah, he would have stood up
I
for it.
know
No,
you
I
would
get you.
have.
But it's
Yeah.
also
I
just like,
just wanted to make certain that whoever it wasn't that tone deaf.
Oh, I've definitely had times where she was at my table
Oh,
and
I believe it.
people like were wildly irresponsible. Yeah. So,
This is where I feel the need to share a small piece of information that I learned, and I forget if it was the Mother Jones or George Takei's newsletter this week, uh, or last week. They handed over to a indigenous woman who'd been one of the first students at one of the Ivy League schools.
oh,
She didn't
cool.
name the school so that she could like write in detail, but one of the things she dropped in that is that the school newspaper, while she was there, got breakdowns of SAT scores based on demographic,
mhm.
Oh,
and the Asian kids had the highest SAT scores, followed closely by Hispanic women, then Black
yeah.
women, then Hispanic men, then black men, then white women, and just barely over the necessary amount to be a qualified applicant, white men.
Mm.
So the next time
Mhm.
you sit there going, "Oh, DEI means you weren't qualified." No. It means that a spot got taken away from somebody who definitely wasn't qualified but knew the right people.
Yep. Was
It
a
was given
legacy
to
or
somebody who was overqualified.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. And I mean, largely, I've had my fair share of, rants about the just totally
wokeness.
false. Well, and the insincere weaponization of DEI, similar to the insincere weaponization of quote unquote wokeness, et cetera, right?
Yeah.
And so part of me is like, I almost don't want to dignify those, because it's so intellectually dishonest, all of
Yeah.
those attacks. Like, but what I will say is this, and you're speaking to it, Tad, is that these conversations they really reveal how much some people believe like, well, it's just supposed to be this way. It's supposed to
Right.
be non-inclusive, and anything that
Right.
goes against natural order. Because like there's definitely like been some people who work in Hollywood writer rooms have like revealed their experiences because there was a lot of discussions um coming out of people in Hollywood writer rooms had a lot of time to speak last
Yep.
year, and part of what they were talking about is this ongoing thing that like a lot of these Hollywood agents will say, and they're like, sorry, Chad, people just don't want to hire white guys right now. Like, which and the what was pointed out is you'll still have a room where it's like maybe 10 people in the
8
room.
white guys.
And yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah. And it's like, okay, maybe we have
No,
like
that's an agent that doesn't want to say to you that you suck and or that they suck at their job.
yes. And also it's kind of like the idea is like, well, Chad, maybe those other jobs you were getting before, you weren't losing them to like black women or men or indigenous people. You were losing them to the 10 other white guys that got the job. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like you're in an overrepresented group, dude.
Right.
So it's like, but people don't want to acknowledge that reality. And in their
But
reality, it's like, well,
but
I'm supposed to be overrepresented and you're not.
Yeah.
everybody knows that white men know more about any other
Everything.
culture
Yeah.
than anybody else.
It's true. It's true.
And
We're
we are recording on April Fool's Day.
we I am part of the default person. I am a default
Right.
person.
You're a default
Right.
human.
Everybody
Right.
else is weird somehow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But because I'm default, I can figure out their weirdness.
Exactly. I am the point of view
I
from
just put
which
it through
Yeah.
my lens.
everything else is deviant. No, this is I don't even want to participate in that kind of joke anymore. I'm just,
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
what I'm
We're
getting
done.
at.
We
We're
It's
do.
done.
We do. Yeah.
no. I just it's weird for me to even say that much. I'm like, ugh, I
Yeah.
felt
I know what
dirty
you
just
mean.
saying
Yeah.
that.
No, it does.
It's
I mean,
yeah.
but I do like breaking it down from time to time just because there are so many people who even in rejecting stuff will say, "Oh, well, no, but their SAT score, they dealt with worse schools and poverty and blah blah blah." It's like, yeah, no, that's not even the thing. They had a higher SAT score.
Right.
Yeah.
They didn't have the same SAT score at a harder road to get there.
Yeah.
They
And
had a
that
harder road to get there and a better
right.
score.
And that you're right, and that is complicated because one thing I didn't chime in about before is like SATs as a metric
Oh
are
yeah.
they're
That's a whole
very
other
Terrible.
flawed and are a
Oh,
problem. Yeah.
absolutely.
that's a whole other can of worms. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's
no, there's all sorts of things.
But you're right.
But
You're absolutely right, though. Even with the advantages and disadvantages
right,
inherent in SATs, yeah, like the
right. The
the
the more you
default group was not outshining people.
right, the more you dig into any sort of affirmative action, the more it's clear that even the people who affirmative action was used to identify are overqualified, not underqualified. They only got in by affirmative action because the system was so flawed that they would have been dismissed out of hand because they didn't look right. and affirmative action forced somebody to go, "Oh, you're brilliant."
Yeah. It all comes down to people believing everything is owed to them. Like I've said it many times, but I think Vince Gilligan may have come to this accidentally, but like if you watch Breaking Bad, it is a like 5 or 6 season takedown of white male privilege and specifically entitlement because Walter White, his name is literally Walter White. You know what I mean? And he's like the most. That's the central theme of his character is he is wildly entitled. There are aspects of his life that he messed up, but he just feels like everything was taken from him and everything. And it's very telling that like some of the worst people watch that show and they're like, he's the hero. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not
Yes.
he's the absolute villain.
See,
Yeah.
now I'm gonna have to watch one of these days. Haven't
Yeah.
gotten there yet.
It's a good show. It's a good show.
Yeah,
I'm not. I mean, hey, maybe I'm not giving Vince Gilligan credit. Maybe he meant for that to be the case. I haven't necessarily read him say that he did, but I don't know. Either way, it works as a great inspection of white privilege.
Yeah. I'm also trying to think. He wrote that one episode of The X-Files I really like, where Mulder gets held hostage by Bryan Cranston, who's like,
oh,
do you know the one I'm talking about? Where he's
what
like,
season?
I don't remember what season, but like it's the one where Bryan Cranston had like some weird thing happen to his ears and his head's gonna explode.
Oh,
so he has to keep driving west because that's like
okay.
I don't know. There's ley line crap or something. I don't know. There's some reason that like
I got to go back and watch it. I know I've seen that.
It's great, and like Bryan Cranston has said that's the like that working together on that episode is what convinced Gilligan to do this episode with Bryan Cranston. Anyway, but like there's some interesting elements of that person's character being a much more repellent, kind of obvious racist, but also managing to make sympathy for him, which that's a hard line to walk, and I think they did it pretty well for 1990 whatever, but I'd be interested to see how it holds up now. But anyway, sorry, I'm getting way off topic.
No, I mean that's
cool. It's a book club, and one of the things about book clubs that take a few months to in between sometimes is that there's stuff to catch up on.
Yeah.
We wind up having way more to talk about than we thought.
Yeah. And it's also, I mean, to be fair, to having a conversation about white mediocrity is kind of perfect for a conversation about Milestone. Like this is literally
it's not that that's what Milestone is about, but
no, I'm sorry.
But you're right. It deals with race, it deals with racism, it deals with social issues in general. So I think this is all fair game.
Yeah, thank you for putting better words in my mouth than I had coming out.
No, I know what you're talking
about. But yeah, I mean no, comics and race and all this other. Oh boy, it's every time you think that like Comicsgate has been defeated, it rises up again somehow in some other bullcrap form and.
I wasn't even going to bring up all the stuff.
Sorry, I shouldn't even brought it up.
No, did you? No, I mean, if you are, I was saying I wasn't going to. I have a lot of thoughts.
There's gonna be news breaking this week. Well, it's broken today, but it's gonna get blown in all the weirdest ways. I'm not ready to talk about.
Oh, did you not?
No, sorry. I literally just actually went onto Twitter as we're recording this breaking-ish news. Literally just saw about this is not the news that you're referring to, Ted, but like they just reported the passing of MD Bright, one of the major Milestone artists. I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Wow. Literally just
That's
tonight.
Crazy. Yeah, we've spoken about his work. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's people are sharing pages from like the first issue of Icon. Like he was, one of the original. Oh, that sucks.
Well, I hope praise for him outweighs the other
that would be very nice.
I think so too. Yeah, it
sounds like he according to his Wikipedia page, he actually passed away last Wednesday.
Oh, did he? Oh, maybe they only reported it.
27th.
Yeah. Well, damn. I only just heard about it, and it seems like it's maybe just.
Well, I mean, it's breaking everywhere else now.
Yeah.
Bleeding Cool had it 4 hours ago. Comicbook.com 3 hours ago. Comic Book Resources 5 minutes ago. I don't even know what TFW is. They had an hour ago.
Yeah, and I mean, he's not just a Milestone artist. He was not just, but like I mean, he did Batman and he did Quantum and Woody and he did, G.I. Joe. He did all this other amazing stuff as well. One of the greats. Oh man, Sorry. Now I feel like Captain Bringdown on this show.
No, I mean it's real. I mean, and also like we got to give people
Uh,
their respect and their flowers.
Yeah.
And also, I think one thing I'd love to see is for like all of the many people who made Milestone what it was really get their due. And I'm always happy to see Dwayne McDuffie get his due because he's done so much. But like like sometimes
I
the
didn't even
acclaim isn't
realize that.
always evenly distributed. Yep. So
Yeah.
what's up there?
I didn't even realize that Christopher Priest had written Quantum and Woody.
Oh God,
Christopher
yeah.
Priest
Yeah.
wrote his Quantum and Woody, so now I have to go read a Quantum and Woody
That was
comic.
was that was that when
'Cause that's
Valiant came back? That was like
yeah, it was
the 2010s, right?
2014. Yeah, it was
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
2014. MD Bright
With Christopher Priest. Yeah, I gotta go back and
oh
read.
well, he
Oh,
also helped. He also co-created Quantum and Woody way back for Acclaim Comics,
okay.
and did Armor Wars, the Iron Man story.
Mhm.
Oh well.
Damn, ripped to a real one. Shoot,
Yeah.
man. This
Yeah.
now I really feel sorry. I really did kind
No,
of
I think it's fitting though, We've
No. I
spoken
mean,
about his
this
work,
is
yeah.
the Milestone book club. So when we
Yeah.
notice that a Milestone
great.
person,
Yeah.
Yeah.
um, it's
And I
credits his
think there's an
grandmother, a
icon
hairdresser, with
arc.
turning him onto comics because she used to have superhero stories on tap for kids to read while they waited for their mothers at the
Oh,
salon.
that's amazing.
Oh,
Oh,
I love it.
yeah.
that's great.
Yeah, I think the next arc after the one we're speaking about today is going to be Icon, so it'll be fitting.
Yeah,
We'll
that's good.
get
Yeah,
to
so
get
to talk
to
about the actual book we're talking about, Ned, I don't
yes.
know. I kind of want to
Good
actually,
segue.
yeah, thank you. There we go. Yeah, but
Yeah. No, that's a
this
good
is
way to.
kind of an interesting one to ease into because not ease into, but it's very low stakes compared to kind of the things we have
Hmm.
been doing, and we had the big. Did we do the Shadow Pact crossover? Was that the last one thing we did from the main compendium?
I think so.
Yeah, I think
Yes,
so.
Yeah,
yes, I
and
think
then we
you're
did a
right.
bunch
Yeah.
of the season ones. Yes. So now we're easing back in with issues 9 through 13 of Static. And
Hmm.
they're pretty chill. I mean, they're not part of any great arc. There's only 2 issues or a 2-issue story, and then everything else is a
Right.
standalone, more or less. Um, although 13 is like the first half of the story actually, and then they whatever. Anyway, it gets interrupted by
Yeah.
the Worlds
Yeah.
Collide crossover, but
Correct.
it's much less, you know, everything
Yeah, the
exploding all at
stakes.
once. Yeah, the
Yeah,
stakes.
it's not like the fate of the world. It's kind of like and you know what? This arc, if I'm not mistaken, it really just some of the high schooly stuff. I mean, I think
Yeah.
Static is good in general at like keeping the focus on the high school
Yes.
drama of it all for Virgil and his friends, but like they really get into it. Like, well, I'll let you go, Ted. But I
No,
definitely want to talk about the part when he's having his romantic struggles with Daisy and
yes.
and trying to keep a
I
date.
mean, I'll quickly do,
Yeah.
the thumbnail um synopsis of these issues is issue 9. He's at the mall with, why can't I remember, not Daisy, but
Frida.
what?
Frida.
Frida?
Rita?
Is it Frida
Yeah,
he's with?
Frida.
Yeah,
Frida,
Frida.
yeah.
He's at the mall with Frida. Frida wants to go to the department store. He wants a pair of shoes, but he has to get busy being a superhero, and then discovers that, the thing
There's
he's
a
going
bang baby
after is bigger and darker than he realized.
yes.
Mm.
I loved this first. So this first issue, yeah, it's Static at the mall. Great,
Right.
like classic superhero, teen to superhero stuff.
Yeah.
And I love the villain that they got for this virus. It's
Yeah.
just a dude who just kind
Mhm.
of splits up into smaller versions of himself. I think that's great. I love it. And I also love that, this is a theme we've been seeing throughout all the Milestone books is that he doesn't just win by throwing the guy in jail. He genuinely finds a new place for him and helps him kind of
Right.
get better, which I
Right.
think I like that a lot because that's from Static's or from Icon's first story arc. That's the whole thing of
Right.
you're
Yeah.
you're not just there to beat the stuffing out of the guy. Yeah.
And that
Also,
and then the next 2 issues are essentially date night, only he's also trying to deal with his supervillain date.
yes, doing the
Right.
absolutely classic sitcom nonsense of
Right.
I got to be at my date and now I'm going to slip
Right,
away
right.
and do superhero crap and then I go
Right,
back to
right,
it's
right.
so
Yeah.
stupid. I love.
Right.
I mean, stupid in the
Yeah.
best possible way. You
No,
got to.
no, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Oh, I love
And
this.
yeah. Well, no, you go ahead, Ted, because and then but I do have more
I
thoughts on
Well,
this.
and then Kurt Busiek takes a turn.
Hmm.
yeah, that one like I read like 2 pages and I kind of missed the credit box and I'm like, this feels different. Who's
It
writing this?
is.
And I flip back, there we go. And like
Yeah.
this is not this is not a knock on Kurt Busiek, but Kurt Busiek
Hmm.
does like super classic, super not standard, but like extremely the most comic book stories you can think of. It's
Yeah,
very
he's got a
Yeah.
massive appreciation
oh,
for the Bronze Age.
of course. Oh no, I mean that's the entire reason that Astro City is
Right.
so great. Like
Right.
he knows what to do when handed a superhero and like
Right.
one issue, and he does it. It's fun.
And for that matter, this issue could be an Astro City.
Oh, completely. Yeah. No,
I
it's
mean,
it's
you wouldn't have to change much to make this an Astro City issue.
yeah.
And it's another one where Virgil isn't throwing the guy in jail. Oh, wait a minute, you're not a bad guy. You
He
just got
finds another
stuff
way to
going on. Let me
yeah.
help you.
Yes. I
Um,
I did think, I mean, it's both corny but also like classic comics corny that like so he gets into this fight with a guy who's like saying you got to kill me and he's like I don't even know you, what's going on. He chases the guy like oh, his journal flies out the back of his car as he's driving off, and the
Uh,
journal explains everything. But it's like, it's sort of hinted that he deliberately dropped his journal so he could explain everything to Static because it shows that he's not a bad guy. But like, I don't know. It's so classic comics thing where it's like, here's the backstory of this week's villain. It's very,
yeah.
it's dumb in the best way. Like when I say dumb, yeah.
Yeah, and I enjoyed this entire arc and this issue as well. I will say, and disclaimer, I can't remember if I said it before we went live or not, but I
you said it
didn't do the full reread this time, but
recently,
I
right?
have read this in the last six
Right.
months. So I think what I vaguely remember from this is liking this, but definitely I think I intentionally turned back to see who wrote it because there was something about the voice that was
Yeah.
I'm gonna say off,
Yes.
and I don't mean it in a harsh way, but it was just kind of like I don't think he necessarily got the voice of the characters necessarily
I
in a way
I
that felt
Yes.
I think he worked almost too hard to get the vernacular.
oh yeah, and that was pretty
And
rough for me.
I kind of,
clearly had an editor because I don't think he like crossed any lines, but it doesn't come off natural.
Well,
yeah.
yeah, and you know what? Actually, and I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you,
No,
Ted, but I just want to say briefly, I think that's it actually provides a great point for discussion because I think a lot of times when like when people when black people or other groups of people of color want to have discussions about something like this, like maybe like a writer not getting it or not understanding the nuances or haven't done the homework, right? Like it's not, people fly off the handle oftentimes, like the type of people who complain about DEI, but they fly off the
Mhm.
handle and assume like, oh, you're being too woke, you think everything's racist. And I'm not saying that Kirk Busiek is racist, any of the above. I think what it's revealing is, yeah, like maybe trying too hard in certain ways in order to nail a voice, but only trying to nail a voice in vernacular through your understanding of a group of people
Well,
and
I mean,
culture based on entertainment that you've
right.
taken in that was also created by people who don't
yes.
have a lot of firsthand experience. And the one thing I'll say real quick, and then I'll hand the mic over, is just that one thing, I think I've talked on this show a lot of times about when it drives me nuts how artists will like wildly get like hair wrong, like black hair wrong or stuff like that. And or just maybe dialogue, etc., like trying too hard. And one thing I'll say is, but then these same creators will draw like really breathtaking shots of the moon or France or someplace they've never been because they took the time to research those things. You know what I mean? They took the time to be like, oh, okay, well, what is this very specific location in France? What does it look like? So I'm just saying, like, I think this is a good point for discussion because it very clearly isn't like, oh, Kirk Busiek is messed up and I'm mad about it. It's just more like this is the type of thing where as a black person, you're like, well, kind of got that wrong, and then you move on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got. I mean, Kurt Busiek, guy who's written Spider-Man before, obviously has like the nerdy teenager voice down flat, down pat. But like,
Mm.
there's there's a different nuance to Static that he doesn't have the. Yeah, I mean, this is not that I'm hating on Kurt Busiek because he could buy and sell me, but
Uh,
like,
Yeah, I'm not either. I'm not. Yeah.
yeah, it's good, it's fine, it's fun, it's not Robert Washington the third. Like,
well,
Right.
and that's the only thing that I'm really able to compare it to. Because I have no idea what this era of vernacular. I grew up in a very white suburb. I didn't have people that talked like this in that era. By the time I was around, anybody who talked with a different vernacular from me was 10, 15 years later, and language changes.
Mhm.
But just comparing it to the Washington, it feels like he read the Washington very carefully and tried to catch the voice, but misses the rhythm.
Are you speaking about the voice of Virgil in particular, or just all the black characters?
Mostly Virgil,
Okay.
but Virgil
Yeah.
does the bulk of the talking and thinking in this issue.
Right. Right. Well, all right. So
Um,
this is. Oh, go ahead. I don't mean to interrupt.
no, I was just umming.
Yeah.
just
I guess
mean,
what I was going to say is, I mean, and to your point, like about, of course, like people. I don't think anybody expects everybody to have a photographic recall of how everybody is from everywhere in the world. But the thing that I think a lot of non-black creators get wrong sometimes is like just what we all said is maybe like trying too hard at times because I think one of the things that Robert Washington and just the majority of the writers for Milestone really get a lot of times is black people don't all have the same voice. We don't all have the same slang.
No, right.
Even slang that I would have maybe used in this era is going to differ very much from a black person in New Orleans, and or California, and then it depends on which part of California you're talking about, and then just a lot of us, you know, quote unquote talk regular. That's big quotes because there's no such thing as talking regular. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like so it's not all and just for myself in within the same sentence I can flow
Yeah,
between dialects because that's just a reality,
you can code switch.
so
That's yeah.
yeah, yeah, so it's like, but the point is my if a white writer ever asked me for a tip, not that they have to, but like I would just be like, look, don't try too hard, but maybe think about who you're ask yourself the same questions you ask of all your other characters. Who are they? Like, what are their motivations, what are their experiences, and create the character around that. Don't create it around like this is the default in my head for maybe
right.
a black antagonist or how they would speak, or you know what I mean. It's like, so it's just stuff like that. I think that I don't mean to belabor it because like I said, this is not like an egregious offense. It's
Well,
just
I
something
I
I
do
noticed and
actually
moved on.
want to quickly ask a question because the art, and I don't know the artist, though he did
Hmm.
do 100 some odd comics, most of them before this. Um, Neil Vokes is another very white guy.
Yes. Okay. No, I'm glad you brought this up. Okay, go ahead. Yes.
So I mean, you brought up you're frustrated when they don't get the hair right, when they don't. How did you feel about the art in this issue?
I thought it was okay. Look, I mean, I will say this, like people know me. It's it's funny because this is just a quick disclaimer. I often, with my day job, I'll often like, just teach workshops or just do art stuff with teenagers. And a lot of times they will make fun of me. They'll be like, "Well, what do you think about this that I just drew?" And they'll kind of make fun of me because I'm overwhelmingly positive. And it's not that, but I also don't blow smoke. So
Right.
usually if I tell somebody like, "No, it's good," I'll open with like, "It's good," and then I'll be like, "I think if we like just compare like, let's say the angle of the chin here and you look at like the angle of your eyes, you see how there's a little bit of a discrepancy, and I'll show them a way that we can fix it." So I will open with like, "Oh, that's good." I say all this because I generally, as an artist, usually don't get into like ripping apart other artists. The most I'll tell you is like, oh, this
Well,
isn't my favorite, so I will say this, like this compared to John Paul Leon, like, and even some of the other artists who filled in,
right.
like it wasn't my favorite, but I don't know, I don't really bash artists, but I do, yeah, I don't even know if there was as much of a racial disconnect. I will say, like, I don't think he drew Virgil without his mask, and maybe that's just what the
I don't think
story
he
called for.
did.
They showed up a
Oh no,
couple
he
times
did. He did a
in
little
the
bit, yeah.
flashback thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
The other
I
thing I was
mean,
thinking,
it's fine. It's fine.
the thing that I noticed, and I was wondering if Ted, is this where your question is leading? I didn't realize that the other character at first was supposed to be black. And that's partly the reason of the colorist too, because like
Uh,
when he's first introduced, the coloration, it's all kind of not
oh, I know
washed
what you're
out,
talking
but it's
about.
a
It's
little
kind of
bit,
washed out. Yeah.
yeah, it's just a little bit less. I don't know. The coloration is a little bit sort of, I don't know. I can't quite place it, but I
Yeah, I
wasn't
think
immediately. That's what I was thinking. It was just like, is this guy supposed to be black? Because it came to me later. It's like, oh yeah, okay, I guess that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was my takeaway. I was wondering
yeah,
if that's what.
I don't think I ever had that problem. I mean, yeah, it's slightly more washed out coloration, but to me the I've
Good.
gotten used to identifying a lot of ethnic characteristics in black and white without much shading in
Love and
Love and
Rockets.
Rockets.
Yeah, but you're
Yes,
talking
Um,
about masters there, like with
oh, absolutely.
yeah.
I
But
actually
but
I
so
remember.
so
Yeah.
it always looked more like the face of a black man than, I wouldn't necessarily been shocked, but there was just enough color that I don't think I ever thought of it as.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, now that you ask me and I'm looking, yeah, I see a few things I would have did differently. I mean, I see a lot of things,
Yeah.
but I'm not like, I don't
Well,
know.
when you brought up hair, the one hair, and I could be wrong, but this hair, this one guy just didn't feel.
You're talking about Virgil?
No, the
In the center top, the what's his name?
is that
Oh,
The
Larry?
the
friend.
green jacket? Yeah.
No, that
Oh
is
no,
Virgil.
that's
That is
Virgil right
that
there. Yeah.
Virgil?
That's supposed to be
Yeah.
Virgil.
Okay.
That hair is kind of,
Yeah, the
yeah, I don't
hair
know.
just seemed.
Virgil, he
Well,
doesn't.
all right. Yeah, go. What are you gonna say?
I was just trying to think. He doesn't
And
usually have the
is this the
dreads.
only Virgil? Is this the only? Well, those aren't dreads. That's like,
That's the thing.
Okay,
I'm trying to think what
all
his
right.
yeah.
usual hair is. Anyway,
So all right. So I will say this. I think and I love Jean Paul Leon. I will say like a lot of times it was uh, even in Jean Paul Leon's rendering. I mean, at a certain point, they are more decisively locks, I would say. Like I'm looking at because in this arc, the only issue that's drawn by Jean Paul Leon is the first one that we read, and they definitely are less vague. There's sometimes early on where it's a little vague as to like, well, is he beginning locks? Is he,
are they just curls?
are
Yeah.
they, yeah, the curls, and like I think
This
he's
Virgil.
definitely made a decision at this point, as to what hairstyle. Now, other artists, they're all over the road with it, and I will say like this one we're talking about with this artist, it's yeah, it strays a little, but I gotta tell you, as far as hair crimes that I've seen in comics, this doesn't even rank in the top five.
Okay.
Oh God,
This
yeah, you're
this
right.
is
Yeah.
this is really okay because like
Okay.
they'll do weird stuff like
No, as I look at it and I realize, and I think when I read it, I didn't not realize it was Virgil. But when I'm talking and we're doing art, I'm very deliberately flipping through, looking at the art without reading
yeah.
the words. And
Yes.
between the jawline and he just seems too bulky. Uh,
Oh, I'm looking at this
if
one
I
panel.
didn't
This
have,
doesn't look like Virgil. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
if
No,
I
it's
didn't have the dialogue, I wouldn't know that was Virgil.
Yeah.
talking about sort of drawing people of different ethnicities and making sure it's clear. There's a bit I always remember from one of Alison Bechdel's cartoons in one of the Dykes to Watch Out For collections, where in later years she started getting a more diverse cast as it went on, and she had a commentary at one point about how careful she is to make sure that characters with like characters' ethnicities can be read without having to resort to like shading or screen tone,
Hmm.
because she regards that as kind of a lazy way to do it, frankly. Um, And I thought that was a really interesting and admirable thing for her to do, to try and make sure that characters have their ethnicities reflected when she drew them, regardless of whether they were color, because most of her stuff was in
especially
black and
back
white.
then as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's a distinct, it's a thing that obviously many artists struggle with. We've all been on
Oh,
Twitter. Oh God,
yeah.
we've seen some horrible things done to like Storm, for example. We know,
Yeah,
but yeah,
absolutely. So I'm sorry. It's funny, Tad. I don't mean to cut you off, Tad, but like as you were speaking, I took a closer look at this panel of Virgil on his page, his hair, and I'm like, all right, that's a mess because it's like some parts of it look like they could be short locks. Some of it looks like it could just be coarse
it's like
Caucasian hair or Italian hair. Like you know what I
it.
mean? Like it.
It looks
Yeah,
like
I'm not sure.
darkness tentacle powers. It looks like the guy
Yeah,
from the darkness, like he's got the weird tentacle
but
arms.
then there's some. Yeah, you're right. But then some of it looks like it's like kind of like hair that's like between curly and straight, and they're like wisps of hair. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
like all happening at once. It's like he threw
tangly
all the
and
hair,
Right.
all the types of hair on Virgil's head at the same
yeah.
time.
But going back more broadly to talking about
Yes.
like both artists and writers and sort of trying to make characters visibly or textually, you know, from a specific ethnic group or minority group or any type of group in general. And there's that very fine line to walk of like, I mean, in the librarian world, you talk about and like in book reviews and everything. I mean, you guys have probably heard the idea of like mirrors, windows, and sliding glass doors. In that a
Hmm.
book can be a mirror, which is to say it's written for people of a specific group to recognize themselves, or they can
Right.
be a window for people not of a group to see how the group works or what it's like.
Yeah.
Or it can be a sliding glass door in which people who are not part of this group are nevertheless invited to be a part of it and understand what it's like. And that's, I mean, this is more generally just sort of a thing about media all over, but I was thinking about it recently because I started reading a really interesting collection, a short fiction collection called Never Whistle at Night, which
Hmm.
is
Oh, okay.
it was recommended by another book club I'm in, like an in-person book club. Um and I read it's indigenous horror stories, and it's all indigenous authors, and that does mean it could be based off of an actual sort of ghost tale or folk tale or something, or it might just be it has something to do with indigenous culture, or the protagonist is indigenous or whatever. It's a very
Hmm.
broad variety of how these authors approach the question of like what is an indigenous horror story and what makes it both of those things. And it's really I mean, the stories varied. There were some that I thought were absolutely fantastic and really worth reading, and then there was like one or two. I got a good chunk of the way into it. I'm like, man, all these stories rule. And then I'm like, oh, I just hit the one that isn't so great. And that was like, oof. There's a couple that are not as stellar.
Hmm.
But it's a really fascinating read to be like, yeah, how do these authors approach the question of, because many of them are sort of visibly, you know approaching the question of like who exactly is this for? Is this for an indigenous reader to recognize their own struggles in this? Is this for a non-indigenous reader to understand what it's like to be or what our struggles are? Or is it,
Hmm.
something else entirely? And they all have different answers. Some of them are more for indigenous, some of them for non-indigenous readers, and they
Right.
approach those questions differently. And it's fascinating to see all the different ways that those authors approached that question and what they came up with. And some of them, I mean, some of them are again just sort of retold ghost stories, but some of them are more sort of psychological weirdness. Some of them have historical resonance, and a couple of them have virtually nothing to do with any element of indigenous culture or anything. And like you
Right.
wouldn't even know it was indigenous if it weren't for the fact that it's in an indigenous fiction horror collection. Like yeah, it's I'm kind of all over here, but I'm just there's
No,
different
no,
ways in
I hear
which
what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah, and a lot of times, I mean, authors who are who are mainly obsessed with not obsessed, but mainly concerned with trying to have the superficial elements of a group correct means that it often comes off as pandering or superficially correct, but
Right.
deeply misunderstood. I mean, I can use all the hip hop lingo I want, and I am still going to be extremely painfully white in whatever I write there, unless I approach it from a question not just of how does this person talk, but what is this person's life? What are their experiences? To what degree are they colored? Oh, oof, to what degree
No,
has
no,
their life been colored by? Oof.
I got you. I know what you mean. I know what
Thank you. To what degree
Yeah.
have yeah. So that's I mean, there's a lot of different answers to these questions. There are no sort of single formulas for any of this, but it's interesting to see, this I don't think this was the first time Static had been written by someone else. And I don't know if it's the first
It's
time
one
he'd
of a
been
few times though. I don't think it
yeah.
had happened much.
I mean, when he showed up in the
This
crossovers, and
might have
then
been the first time. I
Mark
mean,
Bright
in his own book
or
though.
no?
yes, in his own book for sure. And I'm also
Right.
wondering, I don't know if this was the
Yeah, it
first
had
time
been
he'd
McDuffie or Washington until this one.
really
Yeah.
interesting. And then of
Yeah.
course he showed up in the crossovers and some other stuff,
I
but
mean,
like
remember though, this is only issue 12. I
yeah,
mean, we've
it's
been
so it's
reading a
not a
ton, but we've been going
Going
yeah,
across
through
the
all the
whole
books.
universe.
yeah. I don't know. I think it's an interesting question of yeah, how is Kurt Busiek? Because Busiek, obviously, towering giant of superhero comics. He could write a superhero character in his
Mhm.
sleep. He can't necessarily, or he doesn't have the same
So, I
flexibility and
mean,
background.
93, he wasn't the towering giant yet.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
No,
fair,
but
I guess.
he had done admirable stuff. But
Yeah,
look, I
he
think
was
Yeah,
this is
getting
a
there.
really I think this is like I was saying before, I do think it's a really useful example because when you have somebody that very clearly has chops, it's
yes,
not a matter of them, not being good at the medium or at what they do. It's who we are as human beings. And look, I can use myself as an example. At the time when these Milestone books would have been coming out, I was in high school, and I was making my own teenager comic books and sharing them with my peers. And I will never forget Jenny Brown, who was in my art class at the time. She would, was very supportive, and she was like, "Oh, like this is great, but like, why do you draw your women this way?" And the answer was because I had not questioned all of the media that had been taken in, whether it's music of the not music, movies of the 90s, or definitely comics of the 90s. I mean, it was bananas. Like literally everybody who was my favorite artist uh kind of had like one kind of woman they would draw. It doesn't matter like what the ethnicity, anything. They basically would just, like the costume was slightly different. The costumes were literally drawn onto naked bodies that
oh
were busting out. You know what I mean? And I had to kind of unlearn that myself and be like, because I'm not a woman, but let's like, I was willing to listen to women's experiences and frustration with kind of a monolithic representation, in a medium that they love, and be like, all right, like yeah, like because look, in order for me as a guy to do a little bit better and to not just draw like one kind of supermodel uh mode of woman in my comic, I had to challenge a part within myself that wasn't questioning the limitation of representations of the women that have existed. You know what I mean? So like a lot of it goes across the board when it comes to identity. It can be race. It can be, ethnicity. It can happen within race. You
it can
might
be
have
class, it can be yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So it's kind of like we all have to do the work within ourselves. And the reason I bring up the, drawing Mars or drawing like 15th century a 15th century European
Yeah.
location that's really specific. And it's like if you're able to do your homework and try to like figure out what that looks like and render that convincingly, then maybe it's just that much more homework to do if you want to try to represent like a person of a different identity from you. So it's not impossible, it's not insurmountable. I also definitely believe that there are times where people don't have to be the ones to tell every story,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that like, oh, if you're not black you can't write black characters. That's not what I'm saying at all. But for instance, like if it's a matter of like taking up space as well too. Like if you know damn well that like there's say a black woman that can tell this character's story a little bit better than you, but your editor is like, no, I need you because you got the name and everything. I think it's pretty honorable sometimes when creators are like, no, no, I think someone else would be better to tell this. I think having that humility is okay
Yeah.
because I think that I'm qualified to tell a lot of stories, but I try to exercise responsibility if there was a situation where, you know, um, I wasn't necessarily the best one to tell it. And I think that people need to have humility in that regard as well. But if you do feel like you want to take it on, then just do homework. And sometimes that homework entails like actually speaking to real people,
Yeah.
and not just like
What?
looking up the Wikipedia entry for Black people, like, or
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
whatever the hell
Wikipedia
people are doing.
entry for Black people?
Oh, don't quote me on that. And if there is, I'm not looking it up.
Almost certainly there's like African American and there'd be things about that, but
Sure.
no.
Um,
This also reminded me of a thing. No, hold on, I've lost it. No, wait, what was the thing I was going to say about doing the research, doing the homework?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
oh God. No, I had a thing I was going to say and now I've completely lost it. No,
Okay.
I remember now. There was a pitch that I've been working on for years where in the earlier versions of the pitch, for various reasons, it one of the main characters was a transracial adoptee. She was a black girl who had been adopted by a white family.
Mhm.
And it took me kind of an embarrassingly long time to realize, oh, well, for starters, I could tell the story differently without having this element, but also more importantly, I didn't have anything to contribute to that character's story.
Mhm.
I am not a transracial adoptee. I know like one person who is, you know, with moderate amount of with like a moderate amount of knowledge of them, but not super well. I don't know their experiences, super closely. I don't feel like anything I would have to contribute to those depictions and knowledge of what that means for this person any more than has already been seen in the movies I've seen. And someone who actually is a transracial adoptee or who knows more about it would be much, much better and have much more to say about that than I would. So I took that element out because I didn't have anything to say. And there were things that I could say that I felt much more uh confident about. Um
Right.
yeah. So it's
Well,
I
I mean,
mean,
that's interesting. And one thing, little thing I would say is if you ever did, like, let's say that, I don't know, you're writing something else and that character or those characters popped into your head again and you're like, oh, maybe I am ready. I think it would just be a matter of like, it just as an
doing the
example.
research.
Yeah, doing the research or like, or if the people in your life are comfortable speaking about their experiences, that's a big thing too, right? Like, 'cause we don't necessarily
Yes.
want to chase people down and be like, so what's it really like?
Hey,
You
yeah,
know,
tell me all
and
about this.
yeah, yeah. So, but you know what I mean? Like there's different ways that people can go about it, and even in that example, right? Like it's the fine line of making your character, like a breathing character, which yes, their experience as a transracial adoptee is going to naturally have impacted their life and a lot of things. And there's other parts that's maybe them outside of that, and there's a balance there too, because
Yeah.
um yeah, like that. When it was a really rough time, as much as we talk about like the 90s and the 80s and some of the weird stuff that would pop up, the early 2000s were a they were, because think about it like this, like a lot of the top, if we're being real, like white guy creators of that era, they were really at their edgiest. You know what I'm saying? Like they were really putting out stuff. So if you get stuff like, oh, if I'm writing this book with like all white characters, but there's this black character in there, he's got to use the N word because every black person always says it all the time, at
Yeah.
least in their estimation, or whatever, or like we have to, like, you saw a limited imagination, and then you saw just really leaning into every trope, like
Yeah, and it's even
about a group of people. Yeah,
and I think it's easier in a lot of cases. It feels easier in a lot of cases to lean into that edginess and be like, yeah, I don't know anything about black people. I'm just repeating stereotypes, and that's funny because I'm a dumb white guy. But that also absolves you of then actually having to know some black people and how they might act. Like speaking from the perspective of like if if I were a white creator in the 90s, like it would be easier for me to like, as they say, hang a lampshade on the fact that, yeah, I don't know how to write a black guy. Like it would be easier to not do the research and make it a joke of the fact that I don't know what I'm doing
yeah.
rather
But
than, yeah,
even in your example, I think the caricature of that you're painting that person is actually even a little bit more self-aware because a lot of these creators weren't even aware of the fact that they didn't know how to write it. They were like,
Yeah.
of course I know how to write it because I know how to write everything. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so, which was actually getting in the way of what they were
Isn't
creating
that
or
where
something
we
like that.
started this episode?
Yes, it
White
absolutely was.
men,
We
Oh,
come full
full
circle.
white
circle, yeah,
men,
man.
Yeah.
white men know how everything works.
Yes, we're
This is
experts in everything.
just obvious.
Um,
Um,
the other thing I was going to say, by the way, when we were talking about like when you were talking, Marcus, about like drawing women and not immediately knowing how to draw women, which,
Mhm.
happens to the best of us, happens to all of us.
Yeah.
I had forgotten until you mentioned that there was that page in issue 10 where
Okay.
the group of guys show off the page from the comic they've been making, where they
Oh,
have.
yes, yes.
Yes, which is drawn in like super ultra 90s style where they got that super 90s cross hatching and all the
Yep.
coloration is like kind of metallic shiny, and yeah, all the muscles are super sculpted and the faces look weird and stretched, and oh yeah, no, that was great. I love
Yeah.
that kind of parody. That was
It was really good. And
that
I mean, that time, man, I mean, we all lived through it, but it was
oh God,
just
yes.
and you know, that was a lot of the stuff I was trying to unlearn at the time
Yeah.
was just what I was taking in, you know. And it took me not just being told like, hey, this, you know, like you're representing women in a very limited fashion, but also like just being willing to listen, you know,
Yes.
and yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a real, I mean, it's a real thing. It's a real struggle to both artistic in terms of visual art and in terms of writing and in terms of any sort of representational art, like learning and unlearning the things you think you know how to draw or make or whatever. Like you
Yeah.
think you know how an easier example. People always, I know a bunch of artist friends who have made this joke of like, yeah, you think you know how a car works, and then you have to draw one. It's like, oh my God, I have no idea
Yeah.
what a car looks like. But
Yeah.
more broadly applied, it can be like, yeah, oh, I know how a black character would act in this situation. And then you write them, and it's, oh no, you really don't. Or
But also we're
you're
people,
relying
so
on
it's almost like you have to like be one would have to even look beyond and not just how a black character would act, but
right.
maybe this black character too. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
right.
Because like that's one of the things, and we've spoken about it with earlier Milestone conversations about one of the things that Milestone did so well is it wasn't just like you know, you had so many black characters, so many Afro Latino characters that um you were able to avoid the pitfalls that other comics did, where like you know
The one person
there's
was
one
the
black person, yeah, so they're kind of like filling in all of the placeholder ideas that the creators may have about black people, you know. So it's and I want to go back too because you know John Paul Leon, whose praises I sing all the time, is not a black man, but
yeah.
like he did a good job overall, and not just drawing black people, but drawing different black people that didn't all look exactly the same. You know what I mean? And it's the same, and because like if we're being real, if you come up as an artist or illustrator in the United States of America, you probably know how to draw a range of white people, like
Mhm.
because white people are the default. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like it's like the same consideration isn't given once you step outside of those groups. Um, and you know, like and it goes. You were talking about indigenous nerds, and one
Yeah.
thing that I think is really interesting is you know, obviously, I think probably everybody's heard of Reservation Dogs, even if you haven't watched it, because it's, you know, become a critical darling. And I adore that show and it deserves all of the praise. One of the cool things for me that I learned personally coming out of it was like, no, this is not just like some new thing. Like all of these actors that are on that show, young and old, are like they're veterans who have been doing like incredible like indigenous television and film, but it's just not hasn't gotten out to quote unquote mainstream America. And I like that, like, you know, that show is, even if it's too happening too slow, has at least opened a little bit more you know, spaces for some indigenous voices. Not enough, but like it's happening.
It's a start.
um yeah, and there's a that's a huge thing where I actually had to with a book I illustrated years ago. It was not a comic, it was a children's book, but I had to step in because the well-meaning author had written about some indigenous characters, but in like the most generic way. Like, like they wrote about it like because there actually weren't indigenous characters in the story. But the family brought the child to see a puppet show, and the puppet show was about, Diné people, but which people, know oftentimes as Navajo. And
Right.
they and it just everything, all the descriptions in the prose were like they had them kind of living in the wrong place. And then there was like, talk of headdresses, and it just wasn't appropriate to the particular group of people the story would have been about. So I had to like step in and be like, hey, we really need to research this a little further. As an artist, I'm always going to research. So I did research for my visual stuff, and my visuals weren't lining up with what was written on the page. So fortunately, I was able to get them to listen and rework some stuff somewhat. It still wasn't completely to my where I thought it should have been, but like that's
Right.
an example of where like I had a choice to make. And fortunately, it was a small publisher, so it wasn't like I don't know some massive publisher that's just like shut up or we'll get somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
But that's the type of thing where you just have to research because it's research is a part of writing, is a part of drawing anyway. So if
Yeah.
something's not your experience, then just do the work.
Yeah. There's one of the things, I mean, Reservation Dogs, first of all, fantastic. But also
Yeah.
like you were saying, there were so many actors on there who like they've been in a dozen movies as like that Indian character.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And then like finally they get a chance to actually be actors in their own right in this show in a way that like they get to have focus episodes. They get to be the center of the story. Um
absolutely,
my,
yeah.
my pal Xander Cannon likes to mention that I don't know how to pronounce his first name. Is it Zahn McCarnan
Zon
or
Zon Milcarn, I was about to say that. Yes,
yes,
yeah,
yeah, because he was
yeah.
in, but he
He's
was
in
watching.
everything. He
He's in
he
everything.
literally has been in everything as the native guy.
Yes, and also
Yeah,
specifically, he was in um Longmire at the same time as
yes,
Reservation Dogs,
yeah,
playing the same character role,
right.
but being
But
yeah.
with less depth.
Well,
Yeah,
one was the funny guy, and one was
right,
the funny version, one was the completely straight version because he was the head
right,
of the
right.
police. He was the head of the tribal police,
Yeah,
and yeah, in Longmire he's just
yeah.
played it totally straight. Yeah, no, it's great. But also like there was another show that was on, oh God, was it on Apple? I forget.
Are you
Um
talking about Rutherford? Rutherford
Rutherford,
Falls? Or
yeah,
yeah,
Rutherford
okay, yeah,
Falls.
yeah,
Yes, Rutherford Falls was great, and unfortunately, it's been like officially canceled.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, which sucked. But like, it was a great. I mean, it was a slightly more sort of not slapstick, but
Yeah, no, I
sort
know
of
what you mean. Like almost like more of the format of a traditional modern sitcom. Is that what you mean? Like,
yeah, it's more broad than like
yeah,
Reservation Dog was, but it's about it's about this town of Rutherford, which is this sort of interesting town where the white founders actually made a deal, like made a sort of unique agreement with the local native tribes to found their town. And so there's this interesting relationship between the white the white guy who runs the like historical society and then the native woman who runs the the native historical
mhm,
museum in the first floor of the casino, which has been built on
yeah,
the area.
because they're like
Yeah,
childhood friends. But
yeah, and
yeah,
they're childhood friends. They're like best friends, and they always share their information and everything. But also then like there was one episode in particular where they get asked, those two characters, or no, two other characters get asked to do historical like uh
reenactment.
sensitivity reading or like
Oh yeah, yeah,
research
yeah,
thing
yeah. Okay,
for this show that's clearly like a variation of like Yellowstone,
hmm,
this big prestige drama that's got a couple native characters,
right.
and these two people are kind of like starstruck at like, oh man, we get to go and do this sensitivity stuff for such and such. And they get there and they're like, oh, this really sucks, we can't, like, there's none of this is accurate, this all really sucks. And they're
Hmm,
they're debating like whether to quit or not because it's like, we can't, there's not like anything to fix, man, like we can't do this.
yeah, yeah.
What eventually happens is they're like, you know what, here's what we should do. They they deliberately screw up all their native representation to the point where it's like offensively terrible, and then
Right.
that gets the show on everybody's shit list. And it's like it's a it's a funny turn. I don't know.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was a good
No,
show.
it's a
It was
good
a
show. Yeah,
yeah. Anyway,
it's too bad.
yeah. Sorry, we yes, representation and like how we approach how creators approach telling a story about somebody who is not a member of whatever group that you are telling, and whether you're telling it as a mirror or as a window or as a sliding glass door
Hmm.
is a crucial component in all that. And like Milestone is this really interesting example of a company that deliberately was giving opportunities and was built, by people who were often the token person in whatever form that might be at other companies, and getting to do their own, and now getting to start it from the ground up. And like
Yeah.
the one time they the one I just found it I don't know, I found it kind of funny that the one time they invite a guest creator on for this series, it's Mr. White Man Kurt Busiek.
Well, it happens more in coming up. You know, it's funny because I think I
Yeah.
told you guys, like I read deep into the second compendium last year, and one thing that's going to be even more jarring is you get into the point where we're really in the middle of the worlds collide event, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so what'll happen is you'll jump right from a static issue to a Superboy issue or to a Superman issue. And at times, there's times where oh, the traditional DC book and the traditional DC artists really struggle to get these characters down. I was like, what, have you even like picked up one issue? You know, so there's times where it works better than others, you know, but like and again, it's not necessarily because the artists are bad artists. I think they just didn't maybe think it was important enough.
They didn't
You know.
they didn't. Yeah, no, I get you. That's
Well,
I was
and
wondering whether they also had the other issues in here. And they do in the compendium, and
Oh
they
yeah, they
do.
do. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I'm so happy about that because I do want to get
Which
the full
it
story.
is a fun crossover. I'm just saying, like as an artist and as a visual person, you know, there was some jarring differences where it doesn't even look
Yes.
like the character it's supposed to be.
I
Yeah.
will throw out the possible explanation for them that I probably won't throw out when we actually get to it, which is they were all in a monthly
Rush.
comics grind.
Absolutely,
That's
absolutely.
yeah. That's the
And
other thing about
I
it.
will. I mean, and look, we've talked about it. It's the reason why, you know, as much as long form books are their own challenge, it's for me at this point in my career, I'm fine doing long form books because, like, yeah, the whole monthly challenge thing, monthly crunch thing sounds unrealistic to me.
So I wanna redirect, though I do want to quickly say, Marcus, you said that we'd been talking about Indigenous. We didn't actually talk about
Oh, okay.
Indigenous.
Maybe
I
I
pulled it up
misquoted.
on
You
the
were talking about
screen.
the other one. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I was
Ted
talking
Like
about
the
the
talked
wrestling one.
about
Yes.
yeah, but
Never
Indigenous
Whistle at
Nerds.
Night, which reminded me that in August, Iron
Yes.
Circus is releasing a book called
That's right. Okay.
Indigenous,
I flipped the titles.
which is
Yes, which I am
which is
also. I believe I kickstarted that. So I mean,
yeah,
I'm
I did
getting a
not kickstart it, but I will be all over it as it. I think I had too many Kickstarters going and didn't feel like I could know that
Mhm.
I had all the money in the account
Oh yeah.
when they
It's always
started
I always feel
popping
like I'm
out.
rolling the
yeah,
dice if I
Right,
back more than one at a time.
yeah.
right.
I know what you mean.
But it will be released wide on August 27th. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Um, uh, the one thing you guys didn't mention when talking about Indigenous actors that I like to see is when they get to be in things where it doesn't matter that they're Indigenous. I
Yes.
loved Wes Studi in Heat because
Yeah. God, that's right.
because rather than being the scary Indian like he was in Dances with Wolves, like he was in Last of the Mohicans, he was just another detective alongside Al Pacino.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm gonna say though. You know, I gotta be Mr. Nuance. I think that I see some positivity in that, but I would complicate the sentiment that you're expressing a little bit more and say I would say that for me, right, and I would use Reservation Dogs as a good example. There are episodes where, especially with the kids, right, where you are really there are universal things that kids deal with, and yeah,
Oh,
it's not
absolutely.
every.
No.
But hold on one second.
Okay.
Hold on one second. But it's not like but what you're seeing them go through these struggles that are, you know, somewhat understandable and universal. But the world of you know, an indigenous kid on a reservation, especially that particular one, it's never far from you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think what it is a balance, you know, because
Yeah.
that show
No,
doesn't it's to me the answer isn't either or. It's not
no,
either.
no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I really
That's all
meant
I'm
that
saying.
as
Yeah.
in addition to.
Right.
I
Because
you know, I don't I love that we have more shows that are centered around non-white people. If for no other reason than, God damn it, white people need more places to learn about non-white people.
Yep.
To
It's true.
realize
No.
how we're the same and how we're different and all of the above.
Yeah.
And then some white
But
people need fuel for their rage tweeting.
well, yeah, but those
But I'm joking.
if
I'm
we
joking.
never
No,
hear
hey,
from
I
them
get you.
again, I'll be
I
happy.
kid.
Yeah,
Right.
no, I know. But I also like it when being a good actor means that you can play, because there's so many
Mhm.
characters that don't have to be white.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
mean,
and I
that
mean, like
It's
Denzel has traditionally gotten a lot of those roles. There's
right,
Denzel movies where you're like, all right, no, this was written as a black character, and there's ones
right,
where, like, but because he's Denzel and he's
right,
magnetizing, he
right.
will
But I mean,
make
the
it
reason I
good.
brought up Wes Studi is that seems even less so in the secondary roles.
yeah.
He wasn't the lead in Heat. That was De Niro and Pacino.
But
There
yeah,
was
like,
no.
but there's a question right there, yeah,
Well,
why can't
no,
it be?
but
Yeah,
he could have been. He could have been. I'm not saying that he couldn't have been, but I mean, it's like the Jackie Robinson paradigm. Jackie broke the color barrier, and that was a wonderful thing. It was a fantastic thing.
not for Jackie. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, it was a
Yeah.
mixed thing for Jackie.
No, I
It
know.
was, it was a terrible thing for the Negro Leagues
Mhm.
because their
No, yeah, we've talked about
superstars,
this.
their superstars were all poached.
Mhm.
But a lesser white bench player would keep his job rather than having a slightly better but still bench player level black guy.
Mhm.
So it's not just, I mean, yes, I want to see more starring roles go to people who aren't white, but it's equally important that the non-starring roles are going
Yeah,
to just
and
good
you're
actors.
right. And to be fair, Ted, I want to be very clear. Like even when I just asked, like like why couldn't they be lead? I wasn't actually asking you so much as
I
I'm
know.
asking
I know. Oh,
the
absolutely.
proverbial casting director because
Absolutely.
I will say this, and it's like sometimes I'm too observant for my own happiness sometimes. But like when you're watching, like I just watched my wife and I just watched the first season of Three Body Problem, which
Mm.
was I enjoyed it quite a bit. I have not read the books yet.
There's a graphic novel of it coming.
Oh boy.
Okay, but yeah, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. It's funny though. All right, so the cast is great, and the sole like speaking black character, the actor is great. The character is really likable and good, but um he's both a really likable, great character, and he also fits the magical Negro trope in this. And for anybody that doesn't know,
Right.
the magical Negro trope is a character who exists. We don't really have a lot of background about their character. Their character's life isn't as fleshed out as their white counterparts, and everything they do in the story is literally to move the other characters forward, or they're dispensing some wisdom that character needs at that moment.
You haven't
And
spent the last couple of years with the original Magical Negro, have you?
well, I don't wait. You're doing this thing where you're trolling me, Ted. I don't even know what
No,
you're
it's not.
trolling me about. Like,
No.
what are you,
Well,
what are you
no.
trolling
I mean,
me about? I actually was making a
no.
point, but go ahead. All right, go ahead.
Well, but I'm making a point too. Jim
Okay.
is one of the original Magical Negroes, which is why
Yeah.
I'm so
Oh
happy to
no, no,
see
actually, yes.
you centering Jim in the story rather than Huck Finn, because
Right.
he deserves a backstory. He deserves more than just I'm the guy that's going to
Yeah.
move
I'm
Huck's
really
story
excited about
forward.
it because we do so much more. And I'm not going to take up a lot of time on this episode
Right.
talking about it, but just I will
Oh, you'll
say
be back. We'll talk plenty about it. Just
right.
not today.
Yeah. We do even more. We do even more than that because in my opinion, like it would still maybe be a disservice to like say tell the same story and be like, oh, but you just see it through his eyes. Like
Right.
we go beyond that, and there's a central story mechanic that allows for us to simultaneously tell a multi-generational story about Black people and Black trauma, and how the legacy of the transatlantic slave trade has it still impacts us today. And we've also been able to have a healthy discussion and critique, not bashing, but discussion and critique of the original text, and just tell an exciting story with a lot of action and heartbreak and heartache at the same time. Like we're doing all the not to talk about the book too much, but I'm excited about it. But we took it. Yes,
I'm all for
you're
you
right.
talking about your book.
Yeah, but you're right. Jim was like like quintessential. And honestly, like
Didn't
as the
mean to
years
be
have
trolling. I was just
no,
being
no. I thought you were bringing up some current event story that was
no,
gonna
no, not at all.
okay, no,
I
you're
was
right.
meaning literally. You've
Yeah,
spent the last 2 years
you're
drawing.
right. No,
Yeah.
you're right. But I'm not. I wasn't drawing that, right? I was drawing.
No, you were
I was
drawing the
reclaiming. I was
right. You were
reclaiming
reclaiming
Jim.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, but
yeah. No,
I
you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But I was just real quick though. All I was gonna say is on this show, and this show was done by the creators of Game of Thrones, Benioff and Weiss, and like,
yeah.
so it just shows how. And those guys have already been critiqued for some of their ideas for where they wanted to take their creativity after Game of Thrones. You know, when they were trying to do that Confederate series, but
Oh God, yeah.
it just shows how you can have people there. It's a good season of television. I enjoyed it. It was great, but it was glaring to me, knowing what I know, that like, oh wow, yeah, you're really not giving this character Saul much to do that goes beyond helping everybody else. And it's like, well, what's on his mind? Like what gets him out of bed or keeps him in bed every day? Like, and like what's his world like? And so like it was like really textbook. And so I'm just saying, like, this is a show that comes out in 2024 and is very talked about. So my point is, it's like, a lot of times when these discussions are had, and people from marginalized groups give these critiques or talk about these tropes, the go-to defense is like, oh, well, why do you guys got to make everything about this? And the point is, like, I would really rather not be talking about any of this, but it's there. And it's kind of
Right.
like, maybe if other people listened, if more people
There will
listened,
be less
they would,
there.
yeah, there would just be so much less to
Yeah.
talk about, So, but even in that example, right? I did enjoy that season of that show. It's not either or. And even in our discussion of Kurt Busiek, um,
Yeah.
I think he's great. And I,
Right.
I really sincerely hope that like listeners take the nuance out of what we're saying. Because we live in an era where it's like, if somebody has
Right.
even a mild critique of something, they're like, so and so
Well,
slams
this is the advantage
XYZ.
of, at least right now, we've got a whopping 20 listeners or so. Hi, Mom. Hi,
You got
children.
more than 20 listeners.
According to my numbers, when Tom King's on, we've got 100. Um, but it's between 20 and 40 for most shows. Um,
You're building something real. You're building, but
uh,
you're
I,
yeah.
I enjoy it, and my guests seem to enjoy it, and either eventually there will be a massive archive that people will discover and like go back and listen to stuff, or I will just enjoy my life. I really don't care which.
Mhm.
Um,
There was one more
but
thing I was going to add about like representation in television and like whether you want somebody who's acting whose background isn't important to the role or whose background is important to the role. I just finished binging all 4 seasons of True Detective on HBO.
Oh yeah, you saw
Only like
yeah,
3 of which are worth watching.
right.
Even then,
Wait, you're talking about season two being the exception, right?
season
Or
two
which one are you talking?
sucks. Season two
Yeah,
sucks out loud.
I
Yeah.
tried, man.
It's
Go ahead.
yeah, no, but season 3, well, okay. So seasons 1 through 3 were
so
written by
you're not
one.
one of the ones that say season 4 is terrible because it's got different people.
Oh,
I
Good for
look,
you.
I'm not gonna steal Ted's thunder because he's probably gonna
Right.
say what I was about to say. But go ahead.
no, no, it's okay. Say what you want, man. I just
All I was gonna say is I really want to hear what you were saying, so I'll be brief. But I was gonna say, like, I really thoroughly enjoyed season 4. My wife and I would watch it every Sunday, religiously. As we watched it, I just was like, oh, they're gonna hate this. And the reason why had nothing to do with quality. It's because A, okay, you've got all of this, like you've got all this indigenous representation. B, even with Jodie Foster being the lead, like, the central relationships of the season are pretty much all between women. There are these complex relationships between female characters, and it's refreshing. And they're well done and well told. So I just was like purely on the level of like how female this show is. There, there's a sect of the population that's just ready to like loathe it. You know what I mean?
The internet was.
That's all I was gonna say.
No, you're saying exactly.
And I haven't seen any of them. I've only seen the internet reaction that I know was just just of that. It didn't take much reading to go.
I didn't even.
No, I bet you this new season is actually better.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I haven't read much either.
But Ted, what were you gonna say? Yeah.
Well, no. So I mean, yeah, you have taken all the words out of my mouth. I mean, but those first 3 seasons were all written by the same dude, Nick Pizzolatto, who I don't know too much about his background. He does seem to be white from what I've read about him and seen him.
He's white.
Yeah, and like race does not become a factor until the 3rd season with Mahershala Ali, which I thought did it pretty well. I think. I mean. I think there were elements that could have pushed more. I think there was things they handled okay and things they didn't handle. I mean I thought what they did to humanize and make those characters interesting and make race a component of what happened without making it central was really interesting, and I like that a lot. And also that just reminded me that Michael Gray Eyes was in that season as a character for whom the fact that he was native was sort of important, but not like the sole factor of his character.
Right.
And then I was like, wait, is that really Michael Gray Eyes from Rutherford Falls, where he's like the slick casino owner? My God. Yeah. And but yeah, then that 4th season, which is the first written by somebody else, and which people have said it was maybe a different show that got revamped to be a season of True Detective, which I wouldn't be surprised by.
Like as my best friend just had a show that he's been working on for 2 years and should have been just its own miniseries. The network decided to make it the 3rd season of something else.
Yeah,
the subtitle of the novel that it's book based on. Yeah, it's a thing going around Hollywood right now. People won't watch it if it's its own thing.
That's how we got the Ewok adventure in the 80s. No joke. It actually was originally supposed to be a separate fantasy series, but
I know.
They
I had no idea. That makes so much sense though. But yeah, so season 4 of True Detective is very different from seasons 1 through 3 in a lot of different ways. But yeah, partly it is female characters really, really lead the show when previously most of their female characters were not super great. There's been better and worse elements of that, largely worse, but also having the indigenous part of that be so major in it, because it's crucial to how that show works in a way that's really good, and I liked it a lot. So yeah, no, not to completely derail the conversation. Sorry.
No. I think this is a good discussion.
But yeah,
I love discussion.
I loved that last season for doing that. It had a completely different vibe from the first 3 seasons, but what it did differently was so refreshing that I was like, it's I would watch more of this crap. So not crap. I would watch more of this.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, and like the Billie Eilish thing was a great opening. Like the music theme was it's great. The vibe of just those opening credits are.
But that's another woman. That's what.
Hey, you know what? You're right.
Women can do stuff.
Yeah.
Really?
What are you talking about?
They can write comics too? Gail Simone just is about to manifest behind me and chop my head up. No.
Gail's got
God,
cool
God
stuff
bless
coming
Gail
up.
Simone.
God bless Gail. No,
Gail's got some awesome stuff coming up.
Looking forward.
She's doing X-Men.
Oh God, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Because we're going into a new phase, new era of X-Men.
Right.
It's funny because I just got, because I've been so busy drawing, I'm like, all right, I'm catching up on this stack of X-Men books from the Krakoa era. So I'm kind of starting from the end and going back. But
yeah, I still haven't even cracked it.
You and Nate Powell.
Yeah,
that was the surprising part of my Nate Powell interview last week, is that he's been binging the Krakoa. He got back to being a Wednesday warrior and has been binging the Krakoa era. X-Men.
I don't think I'll be done by the time the new era starts, but I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it though. It's been cool.
Yeah, it's next on my list. They're collecting them in reading order.
Yes.
So I need to do that.
That's
even though
the thing
I have single issues. Yeah.
That's the thing that I'm really happy about, and means I need to drop a couple $100 now on these books. But
I know.
But yeah, I really want to read these now, because part of what kind of stepped.
Ted,
I was so worried about missing
buy
things
for a library.
Yes, it's a middle school library though. I don't think I can get away. Well,
X-Men in a middle school library?
okay, hold up.
Actually,
I
yeah.
actually here,
Yeah.
let me actually on air. This is live, not edited. I'm gonna do so the way that libraries typically work for the school libraries is we have a specific vendor that we buy from, and the vendor
Right.
gives its recommended grade levels. So
Okay.
for example, I actually just looked up Big Jim and the White Boy. It's listed as grades
Oh, yeah.
9 through 12,
Oh, okay. All
which
right.
is a little bit
That makes sense as the person who wrote it.
Yeah.
Who drew it. That makes sense.
it is thus a little technically outside of my remit, but I'm pretty sure I can convince my boss to let me get it because
It's probably listed as grades 9 through 12 in northern states, and for 40 and up in Texas.
We
and
expect
Florida.
challenges. We expect challenges.
There we go. But so I'm looking for what is the title of the big massive X-Men like Krakoa era collection? Is
Yeah,
it
that's a good question.
The first one is Dawn of X.
Dawn of X?
Right,
Well,
and then there's Swords of. Well, wait, there's Dawn of right.
But is that
actually? I don't know the collections.
10 of Swords.
That's right. Understood.
But is that the collection that includes everything
Yeah.
in reading order?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm not seeing it. Let me see here. I am not seeing.
They might just be named after the arcs, right? Is that what it was?
There's
Well,
X-Men by
they're-
Jonathan Hickman, but that's the 2020. Is that it? Maybe?
That was what started it out.
No, that's X-Men 2019. Never mind. That's what
There
they're
are
Right.
there are 16 volumes of Dawn of X, and then 10 of Swords, and then 1, 2,
I'm just gonna read my floppies
X-Men
because that's too much
Hickman.
cash right there.
14 volumes of Reign of X, 3 volumes of Trials of X.
Would you say volumes, like including issues? We are way
Here,
into.
I
Yeah.
I'm at Goodreads right now,
Look at that
Okay.
list.
so
I'm trying to figure out, like, based off of.
they
I'm-
look like this,
Here, let me tab into the
and
different thing.
like this one has.
How much is that one run you?
Oh, that is actually just okay. I was looking at those and I
got,
thought
like,
those were.
It's got Dawn of X, X-Men #1, X-Force #1, Marauders #1, New Mutants #1,
Oh.
Excalibur #1.
Okay. Well, here's the tragedy of this all. Those are listed as grades 8 and up, which means I could order them
Right.
if they weren't entirely out of stock. Publisher out of stock indefinitely. So
Oh wow.
unlikely I'm going to get them for the library. Sucks. But I did just put in an order for Big Jim and the White Boy. So which
Do you guys have I forget what it's called. I know Tim Smythe told me his school has there's a like library comic.
oh, like an app? Libby
Yeah,
or Overdrive?
Well, no, I mean Overdrive has some comics and Hoopla has some comics and Libby has some, but there's actually like a comics heavy, like exclusively
App on that's aimed at like schools?
yeah.
I don't know what that might be.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look this up. Damn, yeah, because I don't. I mean, I like to think we have a pretty good graphic novel section. I've picked out most of them by on my own.
Right.
I like to think I've curated it pretty well. But yeah, I mean, I'm always looking for more. Well, and also the disadvantage of working for a large district is that I'd have to then like run that by my
Comics
boss at the district
Plus.
level. Bleh.
Powered by Library Pass.
I don't think we have it, but I think I know what you're talking about. Yes, I'm gonna have to look that up. Comics Plus. Yeah, I don't think the district uses that,
Okay.
but I can look into it. I mean, it's the kind of thing where then unfortunately I'd have to it would have to be approved by.
No, I understand.
Yeah,
By the board. But it's
by
something
the
to
whole
consider is
for sure.
I mean, particularly if you
Comics
start
Plus
having
app, yeah.
teachers that use more and more stuff in classrooms, because there's so many. I mean, Marcus's books, Nate Powell's nonfiction, so many of those books could and should be used in classrooms.
Oh, for
It
sure.
shouldn't just be. And then if you've got the app, you don't have to get a classroom set. Everybody pulls it up on their Chromebook or their iPad or
Yeah,
whatever.
we don't have to have 18 copies of March. Not 18, like 80 copies of
Right.
March, which is good
Right.
to have March, but seriously, those take up like 3 entire shelves.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
better uses for the shelf for that shelf space, man.
Right.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna look into this now. This is my new project after I get back from spring break.
Yeah.
Woo, spring break, by the way. There's snow on the ground in Minnesota, and we're in spring break.
Oh man.
Yeah, I had snow on my birthday this year for like
Oh
the third
God,
time in
yeah.
my life.
I had
Um,
like the last 70-degree day on my birthday, and then it was like, oh, now we're gonna go nuts with the snow. Ugh.
as we're rolling almost into our second hour,
I was about to say, I
um,
think we should maybe wrap up.
I
Yeah.
know, but I did want to bring up one thing and get you guys' take on it.
Oh boy.
Because Marcus had brought up how he had to be called out in high school to draw more diverse women, etc. So two things I want to bring up. The first is something that I think we haven't mentioned a lot of because we've been focusing on the diversity, the ethnic diversity of characters in Milestone, is the women tend to be real.
Yes.
Don't we have a real diversity in female body types. They're not
Right.
all crazy. But then particularly in this run, I started thinking about this page that I'm showing you now, where Virgil is getting ready for his date, and you have the total gaze scene only for the man in the shower and in the bathroom,
and
in a
singing
towel.
I Feel Pretty.
Right, right.
Right.
So
Oh, man.
A, just how did you feel about this in general? And B, do you think, because to me, it felt like, and all the more so with Marcus saying that, it felt like a deliberate dig at the way so many other 90s comics did women.
It's
This is
interesting.
an era where Marvel had swimsuit issues.
Mhm.
God, that's true. Well, let's be fair though. Some of those swimsuit issues, like those swimsuit issues, had like equal numbers of men and women doing cheesecake.
By
I mean,
the end,
well, I mean, there's that famous pose. There's that famous page of Colossus and Jubilee both
yes, but
flexing at the
that's
same.
like the
I know.
second to last swimsuit issue.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Good point. Good point. That's the
Yeah.
first page that always pops in my head when I think of the swimsuit issue. By the
After
way,
they
That's
gotten enough crap about the
terrific.
early ones.
Fair, totally fair. But yeah, I didn't see it as that way so much. I'll be honest. I kind of
Yeah.
was confused at first. I'm like, wait, why are there 4 dudes in the
Yeah,
bathroom?
yeah. That part was a little confusing. Yeah.
Because the page that we're talking about, for those
I
of
guess
you who
we
don't have
should describe it because this is the
Right.
audio medium. But like, yeah.
Right.
yeah,
Well,
for those of you who don't
you-
have it in
you've
front
got
of you.
Virgil in the shower, and then Virgil toweling off, and then Virgil blow drying his hair, and then Virgil brushing his teeth.
Well, and
Yeah.
it's one of those like not time lapse, but it's like there's
Yes.
4
Kind of,
after
yeah.
there's 3
Yeah.
after
No, you're-
images of him.
Yeah, you're right. It actually is. I would describe this as a time lapse. I would say there's precedent. First of all, this didn't bother me, but I would say there's precedent for
I
it
would hope
because.
it wouldn't bother you.
Well, yeah,
loved
no,
it.
yeah, because I was gonna say
I
that.
just love this. I mean, this panel in particular, but I love this sequence of like Virgil going through. Oh, this is what I need to do to get ready for
Mhm.
my date, and
Yes.
I mean, trying on all sorts of different clothes.
Oh, the outfits. Oh, I forgot
Well,
about that.
You're
That's
used to
great.
seeing the outfit
Yes.
scene as the woman, and
Right.
no, here's Virgil trying on.
Yeah, well, what I was
no.
gonna say is like, yeah, I mean, beyond it, whether it bothers me or not, I was gonna say one thing I think is actually cool about it is, I mean, this whole scene is about juxtaposition, but like one of the cool juxtapositions here is, Virgil is a muscular, young man, right?
Right.
But you take that and people traditionally think about that as like, oh, well, they must be like super confident and get all the girls and everything. But this whole scene is it's juxtaposed against the fact that he's in over his head. I mean, he doesn't know what he's doing, and he's not this like super confident like jock guy, even though he's like super ripped and everything.
Well,
So
and it's also incredibly. I mean, as a high school teacher, I've had to watch enough young men spending way too much time in the mirror in the bathroom to make their hair look just the right amount of tousled. And I'm
Right.
sitting there going, can you actually tell
Of
me?
effortless
how
tussle,
is
right?
this?
Yes. Oh, that's for me the only kind of cognitive dissonance that came after I figured out that that's not 4 guys, it's a time lapse photo.
Right.
Was me thinking like Virgil is really cut for a like
He is.
teenager.
Although, like,
I thought it'd be
having
fun.
read issue one a lot, I think he was like really really cut up from the first issue.
I guess, but it also just makes more sense to me for him being like kind of like a skinny nerd, you know? I don't know. That's a whole other
Yeah,
conversation. But yeah, I mean that was fun to watch him like doing he's a goofy nerd. Like that's the
Yeah.
thing that I
right.
think is so great about Virgil is that he is, and you do root for him, but he also is like occasionally, you know, he's an idiot.
Cringeworthy.
He tries to do
Mhm.
the other
Same
thing I
way.
liked.
The
I
same
did
way I was cringeworthy at times in high school,
oh,
Oh,
lovingly
every
and with
teenager.
no
Yeah.
oh
malicious
boy.
intent
Yeah.
whatsoever, which doesn't mean that I literally was having lunch with one of my best friends last week and I brought up something that I did 20 years ago and I'm like, I don't know how you've spoken to me since then. And she just laughed. She's like, because when I look back on it, I'm like, oh my God, I can't even say it out loud without going,
Yes.
I did what?
Yeah. No, 100% I get you on that. Yeah, and it's God, yeah, he's a very relatable goofy teen boy in that sense. And I like that a lot that
Mhm.
he is allowed to be, yeah, he's gonna pose in front of the mirror like a dork and like we love him for that because that's
Right.
very relatable and funny. Like, yeah, no, I also like we mentioned the idea of he's doing the thing of the sitcom thing of he runs out to fight the villains and he goes
Mhm.
back to the date and it sort of works but also he kind of screws up
It
because
only
he
works because Frida saves him.
yes,
Right.
Frida saves his
Yeah.
ass and I think that's
But
hilarious
I
because
love the way she saves him.
yes, where she
Mhm.
she
I've
tells
dealt
everyone
with Indian food too.
oh yeah, you
Oh,
spent all night in the
yeah.
bathroom. Yeah,
Right. Right.
that was really good. No,
Yeah.
that whole issue, those two issues where it was him against Puff and Coil, which
Yeah.
by the way, am I just like terminally unhip or is that some slang I just don't know? Like Puff and Coiled? Is that a thing that
Nah,
I don't
if it is,
get?
I'm not familiar with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it like that those two issues were a lot of fun because it was him solving some problems with science, it was him having high school adventure, high school drama, it was him having some adventures, it was him doing static stuff. He gets his butt whooped at the first issue and then the second issue he comes back and does it better. It's like that is 100% classic superhero stuff and I love to see it. So yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
these issues. I liked
They're
them
fun.
because they were sort of so divorced, not divorced from, but they didn't
Yeah.
there wasn't a whole lot of plot going on. It was just
Yeah.
5 issues of here's Virgil
Or
doing goofy teenage stuff and superheroing occasionally. That was great.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. And it's a throwback to a time when everything didn't have to be written for the arc, and
Yeah.
and there were arcs that happened, but like, now it's like the rule because like we are so
You're writing for the
the
trade and the
trades are such a thing. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, every once in a while, um, it'll not be that way, but when it's not that way, it's specifically, oh, we're gonna do 5 or 6
Right.
consecutive one shots that
So
we
there's
can
still
put
kind of a
into a
trade.
trade.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And that's
Which
what they did
technically
Or
here.
these are. Yeah.
Yeah.
something that um couple of indie creators have done that I kind of like is in both, I think, Kaya and that Texas Blood, they'll do a one shot after every arc
That's good. I like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they
Let you
don't
decompress.
collect.
Hmm.
If they ever collect it, it will be collected in like the bigger anthology type collections.
Hmm.
So it's kind of their way to say, hey, those of you who are reading every issue, you get this thing.
Oh, that's
Those of
cool.
you who are trade raiders, here's an excuse or here's a reason to consider
Nice. Well,
looking
I'm
at
getting
us more.
Kaya in single issues, so I guess that's a win for
Right.
me.
I'm
Right.
trying to remember who did it, but somebody maybe it was Hickman in another book or something, but he would specifically have he made sure to have letters in every issue as sort of a reason to get the trades because like you don't get the letters or you don't get the commentary.
Right.
Or again,
Well,
my pal Xander Cannon had in his
Oh,
Kaiju magazine.
Deadly Class definitely had a lot of back
Yeah,
matter
the
that
back
you
matter
wouldn't
stuff.
get.
I
Yeah.
think Xander
sex
Cannon's
criminals.
Sex Criminals, that's what it was.
Sex criminals.
Yes.
Their letter pages were so legendary that they eventually collected
Just
the
them.
highlights of them.
Yes.
Just the tips.
God, that's right. That's what just the tip. God, I forgot about
Just
that.
the tips.
But yeah, like having those elements of, there's something special to the issue
Right.
is so great. And it's also, I mean, that's also part of the dying art of the issue that, you know, every
Right.
every issue used to have the letters and all that other stuff. And
I mean,
I'm sounding like an
honestly,
old man now.
I wouldn't mind if more was straight to trade, and that made it more likely that the things that were issue, there was some reason to have them be issue,
Yeah.
whether it was letter pages or
Right.
back matter or whatnot, and there was more breathing room for them on the shelves because there was
Yeah.
less overall issues every
I
month
I love
and
that you
more
said that.
overall trades.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I 100% agree. And like this is the thing I've been lamenting for years. I mean, since before I worked with David Walker when he wrote Nighthawk, which was brilliant, but like it, didn't hit the sales threshold, so
Right.
they didn't continue it. I've long since said that like, Marvel and DC and these big publishers, some of those books that have like the critical love and the fan love, they should just release some of those as like it could be like a digital collection, with where you don't have the print overhead or whatever, and let it
Right.
build up steam. Kind of like with on TV, where Arrested Development, when it was on TV, it was like had notoriously low ratings, but it in
It
video format over
sold its
time.
DVDs so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like I think there's something that can be done that in that way with comics. And to your
Well,
point, like if there's some books where they just designate, no, this is more of a trade book,
right.
then I mean it could make room for like, yeah, stuff to be
I mean,
in floppies if it really has to.
yeah, trade paperbacks in general are more evergreen anyway. There's no reason. I mean, with floppies, if you don't sell them in that month, there's such a good chance you're never going to sell them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas if you buy a trade paperback, the fact that you didn't sell it this month doesn't mean that you won't sell it next month, doesn't mean that you won't sell it the month after that, particularly if it's good. Um, so I feel like there's got to be a way to. I mean, whereas right now you've got a situation where half the stores, if the floppy didn't sell, they're not even picking up the trade. And it's entirely possible that the trade would have sold where the floppies didn't.
Mhm.
There's such a balancing act. And unfortunately, for most stores, that's even more true of the independents than the superhero stuff. Oh, I didn't sell many of this off the shelf.
Yeah, it's
I'm not going to get
frustrating.
the trade. The trade was almost certain to sell more. I mean,
Yeah.
for the most part, the way most independent publishers are set up, the only real reason they're doing floppies is to try to pay the writers and artists something as they go, because the real money is going to come in the trade anyway.
Or in the movie deal, but that's,
Right. Right.
Mhm.
But that's way more of a crapshoot, and all the
Oh, of
publishers
course.
that have counted on that have had serious trouble with counting on that.
Yeah.
All the publishers who've decided to spend money chasing that.
Yeah, it's not like any of us here have worked for any companies like that.
No, I think
No.
both of you have.
Yeah.
um,
It's not like I'm in a dedicated Discord talking about some of this. I shouldn't say that. Maybe cut that out. But yeah, no, it's
I
They'll
didn't, I
never
didn't
find
hear
it.
anything. I'm not going to make
Yeah.
Tyler go cut it out, but we didn't hear anything. A
okay.
dedicated
But yeah,
you have a tin can with a string
that's what
Right.
I'm talking. There we go.
Yeah, it says
that goes
discord
to
between the
other
cans.
people with tin cans.
But yeah, like the publishers that do chase after that, then yeah, there's yeah. The
I mean, again,
mechanics and the
there's such
economics
a
of this
difference
stuff.
between making the stuff available and taking meetings and paying people to shop it,
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah.
particularly if you don't know who to pay.
Yeah. And I feel like Kickstarter and things like that are just kind of not temporary, but sort of they're a stopgap solution, unfortunately, until there
They
comes to be something
are,
better.
but I'm
It
seeing
has been
some of the
successful. It's been super successful for some
I'm
people.
actually seeing some of the publishers use them in really interesting ways, though, where it's
That's
like,
true.
we're going to kickstart this first issue.
Yeah.
Only really what we're going to kickstart is like the Massive and the Sean Gordon Murphy Zorro series.
Yeah.
They kickstarted the hardcover, but you also get digital copies of each issue as it comes out. So you don't
Yeah.
you don't have to go, oh, other people are getting to read it first.
Damn.
But you paid to make it happen, and you get to read it at the same time. If you want the floppy too, I think there was a level where you could get the floppy too, and obviously you can go to the comic shop and get your floppy. But you also know that you already have a limited edition, special, all sorts of bells and whistles, hardcover coming to you as soon as it's done.
Yeah.
You know, but it also meant that they had money for the artists and the printing and whatnot before they even started.
Yeah, they had it all lined up. Yeah.
Oni's done that with a couple of books recently.
Yeah, well, and of course, we also mentioned Indigeners from Iron Circus. That's their entire model, and it works for them.
Iron Circus, essentially created the model.
Yes,
we're always gonna start by kickstarting it or backer kit now.
Right.
They don't even use Kickstarter anymore.
That's right. Yeah, they completely dropped Kickstarter.
Because they do it so well that they don't need to give that level of cut to anybody else. But yeah, particularly in this time where there's so many people talking about, oh, comics are dying, like we talk about every year since like the beginning of comics in the 1900s.
Well, that's what
like
started the direct market.
Right. I think really, it's people that aren't aware that comics have always changed distribution based on the audiences and the creators and whatever.
Yeah.
And that really what creators need to worry about is finding the way to make art and eat.
Yes.
And preferably be comfortable.
Yeah. Tell me when that happens.
Yeah. Let me know. Send me a tweet, a text, or whatever.
I didn't say rich. I said,
No, comfortable.
Yeah. No, I know.
Yeah.
I know. I'd love to see it, but that's where we come down to. We still have mostly publishers that aren't happy to make a 10% profit. They want a 200% profit.
Yeah. This has been great, gentlemen, but I really do need to start signing off. So
we should wrap it up. It was we didn't talk about it enough, but over these issues, it was really fun to just see Virgil being a high school kid.
Yeah. Hanging out with his friends.
I think this is a cool way to do it.
Yeah. The action was like secondary. I mean, the action was fun, but it was secondary. It was. I'm trying to go on a date, but I also need to be a superhero.
Yeah. It's fun stuff. It was good stuff.
For all we used it as a jumping off point into representation, I want to say that I actually enjoyed the Kurt Busiek Neil Vokes issue.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was a cool story. I thought it was true to his character. But it was also a good place to jump off in terms of talking about overall representation, both in creators and in the pages in general.
Yeah.
And in arts in general. So thank you guys. It's been a blast. Pre-order Big Jim and the White Boy now. Ted will pre-order whatever book you have coming next whenever you're able to tell us you have a book coming next.
Yeah.
And if I think you can still order Side Effects.
It
got reprinted.
I actually am not sure about that. I don't know if they actually.
I know it got resolicited with.
It got resolicited, but I think they had to cancel the print. I don't.
Oh well. Ask your comic shop for Side Effects, and hopefully they can get a copy. And if not, it's available digitally.
Find me on my find my website, find my personal website, and I can maybe mail you a copy.
Yeah, and or just find Ted and send him money.
There we go. Not even for a book, just like in general. Just
send him money.
Just because.
You can do that for Marcus too.
Yeah, sure. Any of us, really.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a teacher. I make the big buck. Well, no, I'm not even a teacher. I'm a paraprofessional, but my sugar mama is a teacher. So I mean, she makes the big bucks and takes care of me. Everybody knows that the way to live a life of leisure is to marry an art teacher.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's the path to success in America,
she
baby.
Laughs so hard every time I call her my sugar mama.
Right. No,
She's like,
we have a
man, do you
two-artist
not
household.
understand the meaning of that word?
Oof. Two artist household is a oof. Yeah,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
a whole other thing.
So thank you guys. It was so good to see you again. And for the brothers Anderson, no relation. This has been the Milestone Book Club on 22 panels. And we will see you after the next page.
Hey guys, this is Tyler from 22 Panels. I'm here to tell you all about our Patreon. If you enjoy this show, please consider donating to our Patreon to keep this show going. We have many different tiers, all different levels to help you decide what's right for you. Okay, so get on out there to patreon.com/22 Panels Podcast.